Assalamualaikum dan salam sejahtera. Anda sedang menonton agenda Awani dan malam ini kita bercakap tentang seni, iaitu seni yang bermula dengan seni mempertahankan diri, Muay Thai, dan kini menjadi ikutan di seluruh dunia. Dan satu lapisan lagi adalah industri, di mana ia menjadi satu susunan yang begitu rapi dan strategik dalam aspek penjenamaan dan juga pemasaran. Dan salah satunya adalah siri Evolution yang bermula di Australia tapi kini mula bertapak di Malaysia, dan minggu ini telah pun bermula sebenarnya di Kuala Lumpur, iaitu Evolution 27 atau Evolution 27. Oleh itu saya ingin meminta izin berbicara dalam bahasa Inggeris kerana saya ada tetamu yang khas, yang begitu bahaya bagi saya, tetapi saya ingin pergi kepada mereka sekarang. I was just telling my audience that we have somebody that's I have to be careful with, an expert in Muay Thai. I think Nugget McNaught is the co-founder of Evolution 27. Thank you so much for coming to the studio. And then we have Alex Pang, Managing Director of Elite Boxing Malaysia.
It's great to be here, Cam.
Thank you so much for making time. But I guess maybe I was just sharing with both of you that I grew up watching Muay Thai or Tomoy as we know it in the northern part of the peninsula, because we can get free transmission from Thailand, and it was way a different sport then, you know. It's more cultural and traditional. Yes, there were competitive action, but it was a slower pace, no glitz and glamour, no rock songs, for example. But now, decades later, it's a worldwide phenomenon. I don't think anybody in Australia was watching Muay Thai back in the 70s on TV, for example, but now we can see on cable, international boxing series on that. So maybe I'll go to Nugget first, and if you can explain a bit about Evolution and why Evolution is coming to Malaysia on the basis of Muay Thai.
Well, 2 years ago I went to Bangkok and met Tolly Marcus from Elite Boxing, and we discussed my events in Australia and his events that he was doing in Thailand and all through Europe, and we came with the idea maybe we'll take Evolution global, and we came under the, what would you say, the
Partnership.
Partnership with Elite Boxing, and here we are in Malaysia, our first stop.
How come Muay Thai, caught on down under? I mean, there's so many other sports, right? Rugby, kick rugby, soccer, for example, but Muay Thai, now we're hearing it's coming up.
I think a lot of Australians like a physical sport.
Contact sport.
A contact sport, and I think in any fight sport, it's like the modern day gladiators. There's no deaths, but it's something people can relate to. They might think it's, even though it's more sport orientated, it's still people having to hit each other in the face. Some people are attracted to that.
Have in the self-defense kind of way. So Alex, Malaysia and Tomoy has gone back a long time, but maybe our approach to it has not always been from an industry perspective, from an event perspective, from a sports event perspective. So maybe now with a tie-up, we can elevate it higher.
Absolutely. Evolution 27 is, like Nugget just mentioned, it's the first time we're actually taking a product from Australia, a Muay Thai product, and taking it global into Malaysia. So we're actually fortunate enough to bring such a big brand, such a big series into the country and have it staged in Malaysia. And as you were mentioning also about how, it's so cultural, Muay Thai and all that, the sport, how it's developing. In Malaysia, we're receiving a lot of support from the government. We're working together with the National Sports Council, and Muay Thai is even being more recognized these days. So we're very closely attached with the World Muay Thai Council, as well as even the local association in Malaysia.
The question will always be, and so recent, just a few days after that heartbreak, until the last moment of losing the chance to win the Thomas Cup, for example.
Right.
So Malaysians everywhere, they want to see us heading into the international levels, winning things at global level. So when can we start to see that? I mean, for in the big way, for Malaysia to be a very big name in Muay Thai internationally.
I believe for any sport, not just for Muay Thai, it needs to be taken from the grassroots level. So this would require a great effort from the Ministry of KBS in Malaysia. So as long as they're, pushing the athletes, giving them the right support, I believe, we can eventually take back the Thomas Cup or even create gold medalists in Muay Thai, which was exactly what we just had. We had 2 gold medalists, Faisal Ramli as well as Lokman, who recently took back 2 golds during the SEA Games just last year in Myanmar.
I want to ask one last question before we go to the break, maybe to Nugget. Muay Thai started in Southeast Asia. We're not 6-footers, many of us, but now when we look at a lot of people from Australia and from the West, Europe, America, these are physically bigger athletes, and does it give more advantage? But if you look at it, maybe Muay Thai came from this side of the world, maybe also to make us, who are a bit smaller in physique, to be able to defend ourselves. So how do you look at it?
I think the lucky part for the competitors is there's weight divisions. So these weight divisions are created to keep the matches all fair. So, but obviously, if you get a Westerner that's taller and that for his weight, there's always ups and downs. One guy might be a tall, long fighter, one guy might be a shorter fighter, but they equal out when they start to fight in the ring.
Okay, I'll go to the first break first, but once we are back, I want to look at the grassroots that Alex mentioned, because yes, the role of government is very crucial, but the private sector can also start at the grassroots by making because a lot of people now stays in the urban area, also Malaysia included. So, having gyms, going to the gym, being affiliated with a community that has a gym at the center is sort of the new cultural lifestyle for the urban dwellers. So maybe we can take the lessons from Australia and how you move evolution. And because it's always a good sport to be on TV. One of the visually appealing sport will be Muay Thai. So how do we match that? Because maybe the private sector can move faster than the government in this, because you just need people to come. If you give good services, you build up the community, and then you can start sending athletes that will become champions later. That we'll discuss after this short break. Hi, you're still watching Agenda Awani, and I have special guests from way down under. And if you've been around One World Hotel and you see tall, big people with tattoos all over their body, please do not be alarmed. They're just there for, Evolution 27, this Muay Thai series that has been a revelation down under, but now for the first time in Malaysia, and that's why it's 27, 26 has happened down under. I'd like to go back to Nugget, whereby one good thing that the Australian in general has always been doing about sport is building it systematically and strategically. It doesn't start at the national level. It only has a good grounding at the base with a lot of people. When I look at football, for example, or soccer, we started way earlier, going and beating teams like Japan and also South Korea. But Australia, because at the grassroots level, soccer moms and soccer dads, for example. So how do you apply that to Muay Thai to make it more sustainable in terms of growth?
I think for the growth of it, it's the support factor of the boxer. The fact that his mother or father might come and watch him compete, or his family and friends. The more people he can get involved and support him, the more it's going to grow faster.
How young do you start in Australia?
In Australia, there's all ages, but they just had the youth games there last year, so it's slowly getting more popular with the younger ages. But I'd say the average Australian 18 to 19 is considering like either a career or a hobby as Muay Thai.
Do most of the kids, who go and sign up in gyms, for example, is it because they love the technique and the style of Muay Thai, or because they also want to have, bodies that are so muscular and they want tattoos all over their body?
I think the whole world's become very fitness conscious, and I think that it's helped Muay Thai grow a little bit because it's a good way to get a good workout and become more physically enhanced.
The gym system, is it the best system to see a flourishing of Muay Thai?
A boxing bag hanging out of a tree and a garage, it depends. You go somewhere with qualified trainers, you're going to get results.
Alex, if we look at America, for example,
Sure.
you look at Arnold Schwarzenegger, he started out at Gold Gym in California, for example. But in Malaysia, we don't really have that gym-going culture for so long in our tradition, for example. So how do you see us building it? Because at first, there needs to be expertise and infrastructure.
Absolutely.
So how do you look at it in Malaysia?
I would say it's definitely picking up these days. As over the past 5 years, when Muay Thai became more popular in Malaysia, we've had multiple gyms just spurring up left and right. So there is a market, there is a demand, definitely. And the other day when I was in one of the gyms recruiting one of our fighters, I noticed one thing. I saw more women actually picking up the sport than men. So I said, hey, this is actually a motivating factor for a lot of guys to actually want to start doing this as well, because sometimes you might want to mingle and network as well while you're not just going there for fitness alone.
I was surprised. I have considered it and I have acknowledged it, but not to the extent that I met a friend recently, and the daughter is in Muay Thai, and she competed in Langkawi recently, and she's just from 4. And the parents back her up so well. They even changed the diet of the whole family to accommodate the need for this young athlete. And but they still talk about the support system, because if you're starting them young, the risk of injuries, the ecosystem need to back them up. Maybe in the family it's not enough. So maybe that's the motivation of, from the beginning, if you start like that when you are in school, you will be a formidable athlete when you grow up, because, you're coming up from nothing.
I actually was at Langkawi and witnessed the Malaysians had a very strong delegate of youth. Youth there, all the young girls, young boys.
Yes.
There was many in the team, and I think that's the thanks of a place like MSN at Bukajalan,
Yes.
because they have adopted Muay Thai as a sport, and it's stuff like that makes it grow.
It should be in schools, right? I know some would say that this is violent in a way, traditionally, for people who might not be open to it. But how would you argue for this to be introduced to the younger generation?
I think that everyone can say, oh, it's violent or it's not violent. It's the culture behind it, and the fact that you are doing it as a sport, not so much to hurt the other person. It's a game.
Yeah.
It's good that you brought that up, though, Cam, because just about 2 years ago, 1.5 years ago, Muay Thai was approved as a co-curricular activity in a lot of schools in Malaysia.
Yeah.
So what I heard before that also, it was actually a strenuous process for them to get the approval, because they had to convince the boards, the authorities, right? Because Muay Thai is seen a little bit as a brutal sport sometimes. It's misperceived, you could say, because at the end of the day, no matter what, it still is a sport, and it's a gentleman's sport. Because when the fight is over, you see the two men shaking hands.
So I want to get into the nitty-gritty of what it takes to be a Muay Thai athlete, for example. Because sometimes we forget that, we want champions, but we don't want the dirty work behind. Of course, it needs discipline. And, simple stuff like eating right, for example, is very crucial. And let's talk about Evolution 27, also the top athletes that you have, and the coming of the new breed of athletes, and the next talent you want to see coming from Malaysia, because maybe a Muay Thai athlete from Malaysia might have a different style that add to the variety that you're going to have in the global Muay Thai scene, for example. So let's discuss that after this last break. if you're getting accustomed to the, well-built, muscled and tattooed people around One World Hotel of who's there for Evolution 27, that's why I'm discussing this. Maybe you want to see more of them. So how do we see more of the Muay Thai athletes? What frequency would there be after Evolution 27? Would there be 28, 29 every 3 months? Or how do you see it?
We'll take it a step at a time, I would say that, Ken, because Elite Boxing, we do have other brands under us, aside from Evolution. Of course, this is the first time we're bringing Evolution into Malaysia, so let's see how the results come. Then we might not do the next event in Malaysia, we might even do the next event in another country.
We've been offered Bulgaria and also Kuwait. So two very different places, and so it's interesting times ahead.
Being a Malaysian, if we could bring one Evolution per year, I think that would be great.
Yeah. But they must be built up to it, I guess, to get the momentum. Maybe a local circuit kind of thing.
For sure, like a proper series, a proper, we follow.
Like a road to evolution.
Yes.
So maybe if I go to 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 names that you're going to pick out from Evolution 27 for people to look forward to the finals on Saturday, maybe you can share with us your story coming up into the Muay Thai world. How did it happen for you?
I started martial arts when I was 13 years old. Heavily into karate at the time, watching Bruce Lee movies and stuff, I think, and just fell into karate. And from that, I think I missed the competition. So they showed a lot of techniques, but you didn't really put them into play.
I see.
And I think the ring sport, I realised I get to test my skills that I learned that week in the boxing ring.
So you always.
So I went to Muay Thai at 18 years old.
So it gives you the adrenaline rush every time.
Yeah, I think an adrenaline rush, but also something I felt like I'd accomplished. I'd trained hard, I'd stayed disciplined.
How hard do you train? I know sometimes athletes say, we train hard, but normal people like me who hardly goes to the gym, we might not be able to imagine how hard that is.
The average Thai boxer would train 2 to 3 hours in the morning and 3 hours in the
Do
afternoon.
you do 1,000 push-ups a day?
10 kilometres. Start your day with a 10-kilometre
10
run.
kilometres.
10 kilometres.
Not slow jog, right?
In between, up to you, but you have to finish the 10Ks.
Okay.
And then come back, skip for 20, 25 minutes, and then hit the bags, little bit of shadow boxing, and then have a rest, eat your lunch, sleep a little bit in the afternoon, and then wake up again, another 6-kilometre run, and then skipping again.
Another 6
Another 6 kilometre, a faster run in the afternoon.
Okay.
And then hitting the pads with your partner, the training partner. Yeah.
Do you really have to, hit, because this is a fault of Hollywood,
Coconut trees.
Yeah,
I can
you
see
see
it
them
coming.
hitting the coconut tree or what? How do you guys do it? To toughen up the legs,
They say in Thailand they do it. Obviously, everyone saw Bukau kick the coconut tree and also Jean-Claude Van Damme on Kickboxer. But most of the 20 years I've been in Thailand, I have never seen anyone kick a coconut tree. But I'm not saying they can't.
Yes. Alex, maybe the names that are here for Evolution 27 we can share. It's great for Malaysia to have the honour of having these professional athletes from Muay Thai here.
For sure. We have the Thailand versus Asia super fight that comprises of Ali Yaakob. Ali is a Malaysian champion.
Okay.
He was the Malaysian captain of the Muay Thai team. So in our previous 2 events that we actually hosted, and in Thailand versus Asia and Thailand versus Challenger, Ali had won both fights. So right now he's kind of defending his title against God Surnoi, which is actually one of Nugget's disciples. So it'll be a very good matchup, 57 kilos. Aside from that, we have other fights like Jom Kitty versus Vahid. We have Tony versus, who's Tony fighting again?
Tony is fighting Frankie.
Frankie, yes.
Tell us about God Surnoi.
God Surnoi is a funny little character because he's actually came to Australia when he was 6 years old, and now he was born in Thailand, obviously, but has lived in Australia his whole life. So when people, Alex himself got a bit of a shock when he first met God. God says, "G'day, mate." Like an Aussie.
Exactly like an Aussie, but looking like a Southeast Asian.
Yeah, looks Thai. Yeah. but speaks fluent Thai and speaks fluent English.
Okay. So that's, I want to touch on the TV aspect. At the end of the day, you need this TV network of audience because that will help propel the sport even
For
higher.
sure.
So can you touch on that a bit?
Our goal in elite boxing is to really bring Muay Thai to the next level. We brought it out of the stadiums, and that's why we're having it in One World Hotel's Imperial Ballroom, which is a 5-star venue.
Yeah.
So there's going to be a dinner gala, and our guests all coming in black ties. In fact, like you had mentioned, you want to get the TV audience into the whole thing. We're taking the market of the high-profile people in Malaysia. We have people like Datuk Lee Chong Wei coming for the event, Datuk Siti Nurhaliza, and many other big celebrities within the country. So the light and sound, the whole stage setup, the way the venue is presented, it's going to be a spectacle.
So the athlete doesn't have only to run 16 kilometers a day, watch what they eat, but they've also got to know how to work the cameras.
That's a slow. Sometimes a lot of people might say some of the athletes are like dead fish in the water when it comes to the talking part.
Yes.
But slowly, over the time I've been in this industry, I've seen people become better. That they're speaking well. They're communicating with the public better.
Thank you so much, Alex and Nugget, for making time to be on the show. If I can spare time, I'll try to drop by
Absolutely,
to
Ken.
One World. Thank you so much for making time.
Thank you very much.
You there.
Okay, I love to see God Sernoi, hardy mate from Thai-looking person. That will be the thing for me. Thank you so much. Terima kasih banyak kerana menonton agenda Awani kali ini. Dan ini saya nak dedikasikan khas kepada atlet remaja perempuan berusia saya rasa 16 tahun yang duduk di Subang itu, tetapi begitu gigih mewakili Malaysia dalam bidang Muay Thai. Dan hantarkan pandangan anda sendiri kepada pelbagai platform yang Astro Awani ada. Kita ada Facebook, Twitter, dan terus mat turun aplikasi mudah alih iOS dan Android. Dan kita jumpa lagi dalam episod Awani yang lain pula. Sekian, selamat malam dan terima kasih. Thank you so much.